Hello there and welcome to the Warriors Amateur Anime Review. I am your host Scottish Warrior 92 and in today's installment we're going to be looking at a Ghibli film, Grave of the Fireflies. For those who don't know, Studio Ghibli is, well, for me, they're a studio I heard of vaguely. I had not seen a lot of Ghibli films in my time. The first Ghibli film I ever saw was, I think, Kiki's Special Delivery Service. They're a studio that is basically widely considered to be one of the best anime studios out there. A lot of their animes that they have created, mostly films if memory serves me, have been either greatly praised or greatly hated. They also recently done a game along with Level 5 Studios called Ni no Kuni. The Ghibli art style and the Ghibli stories are normally easy to pick out. Like, you could watch any Studio Ghibli film and you can go, that's a Studio Ghibli film. In fact, most people, even if they're not massive anime fans, can recognise a Studio Ghibli film, because they always seem to follow either the same principles or always a very similar art style. Now, as I said, I haven't seen that many. As I said, I've seen this one and Ni no Kuni. That's a game, of course. I haven't played it because I'm not big into JRPGs. I've also seen, as I said, Kiki's Special Delivery Service, and I do believe I saw one or two others. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this one here, Grave of the Fireflies, was one that was requested by my subscribers, or my clan as I call you all. I hope you don't mind that. And, well, I wasn't expecting to review it so soon after reviewing my first anime. But I sat down and I watched it. So what's the story? We're going to judge this anime fairly. We're going to start with the story, go to the animation, go to the music, go to the voice acting, and then overall what I thought of it and what overall themes I think it was touching upon. Well, the story follows the characters, I do apologise, I cannot remember the names out off the top of my head, of Seta and his little sister, Setsuko, in World War II Japan. And basically they haven't been having themselves a good of run luck. Subsequently, their entire town is destroyed, their mother is killed, and they're basically moved out onto their aunt. It's a brother and sister story, basically. And eventually they end up leaving their aunts for reasons that I'll get into in a moment, and subsequently leaving out on their own. Now, this isn't a major... It's really set out from the start. We actually see right at the start that these two characters will not make it. Like, literally with the first 5 minutes of the film, you know that both these characters did not make it. They actually died. It's not a spoiler because it's literally within the first 5 minutes we see it happening. Or we see the ending, basically, and the story is really told like the character of Setsa, the brother, who we're basically shown what happened to them through his eyes. So because it's more of an extended flashback sequence, like, you know the saying, your life flashes before your eyes. This is really how Grave of the Fireflies is told. It's told through that. Like, we keep seeing every now and then Setsu in a nice red hue, where he's watching the events of his life unfold that led to his death, and also the death of his sister. How his mother died, how they ended up with their aunts, how eventually it led up to the death of his sister. And the story's primary focus is one of pride, in my opinion. I'm going to get that towards the end where I talk about the overall theme, but I'll get to that soon. But the story, in my opinion, has overall theme of pride, but also how that can be your downfall, but also your succession. Now, I'll talk about that in the themes. That's probably going to be the majority of the video, but I'll talk about that a wee bit later. I'll talk about the music. The music is fantastic. The music suits the movie very well. There are a couple of tunes here there that make you go, it's very traditional Japanese music. There's no, like, heavy metal, there's no J-pop or anything. It's subtle, it's nice, subtle music that's done exceptionally well, and I'll give them that. What else is there? The voice acting is done well. The two main leads, the brother and sister, Setsu and Setsuko, are fine. They are done exceptionally well, especially the little sister. She's done really well and really plugs at your heartstrings. The animation is done well. There are a couple of issues here or there, but overall the animation is very well done. I don't want to talk about the animation. It's very beautiful in a way, especially when it's done. I'll talk about it quickly. The animation with the flashback sequence, with, like, when we go to Setsu and his little sister, they're walking through basically either hell or heaven, it's hard to tell. with the flashbacks, it's very subtle, very done well. It's more like a hand, it's not really hand painted, but it does look more pencil-y than animation in some cases. It's still anime, it's still animated, and it looks really good, and the art in the background is always done well, and the animation is superbly done in some instances, and a little iffy on other parts there, but that's beside the point. Now, here gets to the big part. Well, the voice acting, as I say, is done fine. Now let's get to the main thing. I need to talk about the themes and what I took away from it, because I'm going to say this right now. Grave of the Firefly has been described in many ways. I did a bit of research. I even watched a couple other reviews on it just to make sure. I was like, one review was Bennett the Sages. He did a very good review that I would recommend going checking that out. But I would say this is from my point of view as well. A lot of people have described Grave of the Fireflies as an anime that everyone has to watch. Other people have described it as an anime that everyone shouldn't watch. It's very mixed. But the best description I found for me is the anime that you'll only ever watch once. I'm going to tell you right now, I am probably never going to watch Grave of the Fireflies ever again, but not because it's so good or it's so bad, but because of what it is, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm an older brother. I have a little sister, so this story and this actually did hit home with me, because I have quite a vivid imagination, and I was actually imagining myself and my little sister in that position, and it really hit home with me. It really started hitting my heartstrings. And really, as I say, this is kind of getting into spoiler territory, but I understand, hopefully, a lot of people don't mind that. I'll try and avoid major ones as possible, but basically, what I got from this anime, and the reason I'm probably never going to watch it again, or at least not anytime soon, like I'll probably watch it maybe in a few years again, but what I got from this the most is the theme. The theme of Grave of the Firefly is, of course, different for everyone in some cases with any anime. But for me, the theme is pride. The brother, Seta, Japanese names, I don't know. He's a character that you will both love and hate, in my opinion, because he's a very traditional kid. He wants the best for his little sister. He does. He wants her to grow up fine. He wants her to grow up nice, even growing up healthy, basically. But for him, the way that his aunt was treating them was very disrespectful. His aunt was basically saying to them that, I'll put a roof over your heads, but you have to work for stuff. I have a daughter, and not me, but the aunt. The aunt has a daughter and I'm assuming lover, it's hard to tell, it's never really said to us, who are helping during the wartime, who are like doing jobs, going to school, like that. And Seta and his sister are just lounging around doing fuck all, basically. And the aunt sees that as disrespectful and basically says to them, look, I'll put a roof over your head, I'll give you the bare necessities to survive, which is basically rice porridge. You don't get rice balls, you don't get treats, you don't get sweeties, you don't get nothing. You get the bare necessities because you do nothing. That's basically what she says, and Seta doesn't take that too well. In fact, he takes it so much so that he actually takes him and his sister to an abandoned bunker, basically, to survive. And he thinks he knows best, with his pride, how he can take care of his sister. And he thinks that he knows better. He thinks that with the money that he gets that was left him from his mother, which was about 7,000 yen, he buys supplies, he buys rice, he buys stuff, and for a while, it's fine. But after a bit, it slowly but surely starts to get worse and worse. As the money goes, he realizes he actually can't take care of his sister. His sister is literally starving to death. Malnutrition she's starting to suffer from. And him as well. They are barely surviving. And he doesn't want to go back. His pride doesn't want him to make him go back. It actually is literally going to him, I ain't gone back. In fact, it's even brought up in the story with one of the characters, one of the farmers, who basically says, dude, you need to swallow your pride and go and apologise to your aunt to go back to them. Just do it. We've all had to do it. And that's why I'm talking about Setsa as a love-hate character. I loved him for the fact that he wanted to take care of his little sister. That was his main goal. But I hated the fact that he could not swallow his pride. That we all have to do at one point in our life. We all have to swallow our pride at one point and just go, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I can't handle this. Please help me. I'm begging. All he had to do to basically sort things out was go to his aunt, say I'm sorry, and they would have got a roof over their head. They would have got the bare necessities to survive, and he could even have went, I'm sorry, I'll do my part. I'll go and find work. I'll go and do something to help the country, basically, in my own little way, as long as you take care of my little sister. That's all he had to do, and his problems would have been solved. Not all of them, but at least the idea of his sister being taken care of would have been solved. He didn't do it. And subsequently, he thought he knew better. And eventually, he does get enough money to help get a nice bit of food to his little sister and try and help her survive, but all too late. And she doesn't make it. We know this from the start. And it's done well. And that theme is what I think is the most important thing about this anime. Is that pride is something that we all have, and some of us cannot swallow it. I've had to swallow my pride on more than one occasion, and I'm pretty sure all of us have done at one point. But here's the message that I think it comes across is, you should, if you're an older sibling especially, like I'm an older brother, I would swallow my pride to put my little sister ahead of me. I would swallow whatever pride I had to make sure my little sister was safe, or make sure she was okay. And that's what I think the story's most important thing is that especially if you're an older sibling, it's going to hit you more at heart, but as even if you're not, it's still going to make you tear up a little bit. It did make me tear up, I'm not going to lie. And that's what I think it is. Like, Seta is the character who you love to hate. Not love to hate, he's a love-hate one. You love him for the fact that he wanted to take care of his sister, but you hate him for the fact that he couldn't swallow his pride and he thought he knew better. And let's put it straight. At the age of what Setzer is at, which is in his teens, we all think that. We all thought that at one point, that we knew better. That we all knew better than anyone. No matter what anyone says, we were better. We were going to be president. We were going to be prime minister. We were going to be astronauts. We were going to get this tattoo because it's fucking awesome. We were going to get these piercings because they were cool. And even though our parents or even older people we knew were like, nah, don't do it, we still did it because we thought we knew better. But even when I was that age, I knew that at some point I had to swallow my pride. And I did swallow my pride as a teenager, and I made a lot of mistakes. I made mistakes here or there. But as it says, especially when you're an older sibling, you learn that fast, in my opinion, the fact that you have to swallow your pride to put your little sister or your little brother ahead of you. Because you want to make sure their life's good. And that's why I think the main theme of Grave of the Firefly is. Now, as I said, it can be interpreted different ways, and that's why I don't think I'll ever watch this again. I'm not saying I might not never, ever, ever, ever watch again. Maybe I'll put it on with someone who's never seen it before and let them watch it. I enjoyed this anime, and I would definitely say that if you can, definitely check it out. But I do advance you warning that I would say that be prepared to have your heartstrings plugged at, because it's going to plug at them pretty damn hard. Grave of the Fireflies is definitely a really very good anime. It is definitely a great Studio Ghibli film, and especially if you're an anime fan, it's a must watch. But I'll definitely say this right now, prepare to have your heartstrings plucked. It is definitely an anime that I'm glad I watched, but I won't be watching anytime soon again. So, Grave of the Firefly is done. I hope you enjoyed my review. I hope you enjoyed it and it was at least entertaining. I gave you my opinion. Now, let's dive into the bag of anime and pull it what we're going to be reviewing next time. But yeah, Grave of the Fireflies, definitely check it out. And we have the granddaddy of them all. Next Warriors Amateur Anime review is Akira. Thank you for watching.